Welcome to Guitar Search Saturdays. My name's Shane. This is episode 22, believe it or not, of Guitar Search Saturdays, so we're absolutely cranking out the series. I'm going to try and aim to get one out every second week, at least for the next few weeks, before I need to film some more. Today we're off to a shop that I've spent a lot of time in over the years and also picked up many amps from. It's KC's in Boronia. KC's also stands for Keyboard Corner as well. As you can see from the sign, it's Keyboard Corner and KC's Rock Shop. So odds are, back in the day, perhaps, I'm not exactly sure of their history, they may have merged a keyboard shop with a guitar store. But either way, this is one of the best guitar shops in Melbourne. They have an absolutely massive range of acoustics and electrics. This is a retail shop. They don't sell a whole lot of secondhand gear. There's a couple of secondhand amps sometimes hanging around, but mostly they sell new stuff. That said, it's a little bit different to some of the shops in Melbourne, so I'm looking forward to taking you on this virtual journey. A huge thanks to the owner and the staff for allowing me to come through and shoot this particular video. Much like the last episode, I shot this particular episode with one of my good cameras as well, so it should be nice and stable and visually way more appealing than the last season of episodes, so I hope you like it. Let's go in and take a look. So the first thing you want to do when you walk in is hang a sharp left. Check this out. This is why I really dig KC's Rock Shop. Check out this awesome range of Teles, Strats, and Fender gear. Let's take a quick pan around the shop and see what we can find. As you can see already, even just from these two walls, KC's definitely has a huge range of electric guitars. We'll come back and look at these ones in a moment. Let's go ahead and check out some of these Fenders. Hey, awesome, a Brad Paisley Telecaster. The Brad Paisley Tele is definitely one of the most unique looking Teles out on the market today, or at least released by Fender. I know a lot of Fender custom shop guitars do have the sparkle and relic design, but this has to be one of the very few coming out of the Mexico plant to look this blinged out. It's pretty cool. If you've never listened to a Brad Paisley album before, check out his album called Play. It's an awesome guitar album. I'd put that up with some of the best guitar playing you'll ever hear. I gotta say, these Fender American Special Telecasters aren't really anything new, even though it says for the people, by the people, but that said, they actually play extremely well. And they're also loaded with Texas Special pickups. One of the most common questions I get all the time are what are my thoughts on the Baja Telecasters. I love these things. I think they're arguably some of the best bang for buck Telecasters that Fender make, hands down. If they made a Lefty in one of these, I would definitely go ahead and buy it. I really think they're a great guitar, although I would probably buy the Butterscotch. Check it out, we have an American Series Fender Jag. While I think this looks really cool, I'm not 100% certain how much I dig a guitar with toggle switches like this on the body. With that aside though, I think this is a really great looking guitar. I dig the color, I dig the bridge, and those pickups I bet would sound great as well. That's a pretty sweet looking Jazzmaster. Man, I love this Lake Placid blue. I wish they kind of made more guitars with this particular finish, especially in a Lefty. But that said, I think it looks beautiful. Let me know your thoughts on this particular blue. Check it out, it also has a little bit of a sparkle burst going on. I've had just about every set of Fender Noiseless pickups over the years except for the most current generation, and from what I've heard, they actually sound pretty good. Here's a guitar I'd love to find in a Lefty. This is a dual Humbucker American Strat. I think this actually looks really, really cool. Back in the day, I would have never have given humbuckers in a Strat a chance, but I actually kind of like how they sound. To my ear, Fender humbuckers sound a little bit more toppy and a little bit more clear, and that's kind of what I like these days. I thought for a moment I would have to cue the Lefty alarm, but sad thing is this is actually a right-handed guitar. Check it out. Next time I'm at a music shop with either Rick or Ryan, I'll definitely have to ask one of them to plug in and play this guitar. I'm really digging this Sustainer pickup. I'd love to hear it in person, other than just on YouTube. There was about another 20 guitars in that Fender section alone I could have rambled on about, but let's go over and check out some amps. There's a sight for sore eyes. Actually, let's keep moving. This is the Fender Bassbreaker 7-watt combo. I actually had a chance to test one of their heads recently when I was doing a demo of a Hagstrom guitar, and I have to say it sounded amazing plugged in. There's something about the gain stage on these amps that I really, really like. And then I saw this. Several years ago, I was so close to pulling the trigger on one of these Fender Twin Custom 15s. They're actually loaded with a 15-inch speaker. Back when I got my Supersonic 60, I actually went back to get one of these and they'd sold out, so I was spewing. But that said, the Supersonic was also a really great amp and slightly lighter. If you do have a chance to plug into the vibrato channel on one of these, turn it up to about 4 or 5 and just experience that. It's pretty wild. I've owned so many Fender amps over the years, nearly every time I walk into one of the shops to check out the Fender gear, I'm like, oh yeah, I had one of those. Oh yeah, I borrowed one of those. I think I demoed that one as well. So yeah, it's getting kind of crazy. One amp I definitely want to add to my collection at some point is a Princeton. There's really something to be said for a Princeton in terms of tone. Here's a really tasty selection of Ibanez electric guitars. If you're into Ibanez, check out this range. On the last episode of Guitar Search Saturdays, I made mention of how great I think some of these Ibanez electric guitars are looking these days. They're absolutely beautiful. I mean, check out the top on that red guitar. Stunning. KC's also happens to have some of the latest Line 6 gear. Love them or hate them, they've definitely copped more grief online than just about any other brand. That said though, they have improved, especially with this sort of stuff. Their Head Rush and Helix gear is actually really, really great sounding. If you don't believe me, check out the series I did with Dr. Rick called Tele Tuesdays. Peavey. Oh, here we go. So we definitely have a whole lot of Peavey amps here as well, which is really, really cool. As you may or may not be aware, these Classic Series amps used to be made in the US, but they're not anymore. They're now made in China. That said, they actually still sound really, really good, and they're built fine. Just to put it into context, the Bandits now have been made in China for many, many years, including the ones that I own, and they just keep going strong. A Peavey Bandit would have to be one of the only amps to withstand a nuclear blast. I'm sure of it. Another question I get a lot is what would I choose between a Peavey Delta Blues with a single 15 or the two 10s? Now, I haven't tried the most current generation of either of these two amps, but going back a number of years, I always chose the 15 over the two 10s. A friend of mine at the time purchased the 210 model, and once you start to turn it up, it breaks up really, really quickly. If you're looking for a high headroom amp, go for the 15. If you like your amp and speaker distortion to kind of give you that dirty sound at a lower volume, go for the 210s. What are my thoughts on the Peavey ValveKing? I've never actually owned one. I'm going to have to try and test one out coming up soon. On this next wall, we have a selection of Ibanez electric guitars. I'm going to shut up for a moment, let you check it out. Please remain calm. We have our first official Lefty sighting. You know what? Thanks to Ibanez's naming convention, I'm not even going to bother trying to find out which guitar this is. They're almost impossible to find and they all sound obscure. That said though, check it out. It looks absolutely stunning. I'm digging that SSH configuration with the single coils in the neck and middle, but the humbucker in the bridge. Very cool. This has to be one of the most blinged out guitars I've ever seen. I guess it goes without saying that every guitar company in the history of making guitars always has a T and an S style electric guitar in their collection at some point. If they haven't done it yet with some companies, they'll no doubt do it soon. And don't take that as a negative. I think all of these companies should appeal to boring people like myself who love Strat and Teles. Man, I don't care what anyone says. These look awesome. Hey, there's something that looks very, very familiar. It's the Bugera V5 Infinium amplifier. I don't often see too many of these around these days, so it was really cool to see one in person at a shop. I actually have had one of these now for several years, and I'm still enjoying it. I probably don't play it as much as I would like at home, but that said, it still sounds great. At first glance, you might think these are all Fender electric guitars, but they're not. They're actually Squiers. Check out the craftsmanship on these things. Their guitars keep getting better and better, and it seems like they've just got more of a range of them every single year. Awesome, here's a 50s classic vibe Strat. I've just actually posted a review of this on my channel. If you haven't seen it, I'll pop it up in the cards. What an awesome sounding guitar. KC's also has about 2 walls full of Blackstar amplifiers. Almost daily I get asked, have I tried this Blackstar, have I tried that Blackstar? Sadly the answer is no, not because I don't want to, but I don't really have access to testing them at this particular moment. Hopefully that will change though. Check out this blue Deluxe reverb. This is a limited edition amp loaded with a creamback speaker. That would have to be pretty cool. Check out these 2 Vox amplifiers in maroon Bronco. That's what they're calling that color, or maroon. I'm not sure how you pronounce that, but either is fine. About once a week, I get a question on Facebook or on my YouTube channel asking me what I think about Vox amps and how come no one's really talking about them these days. One of the things I don't think people realize about Vox amps is they sound phenomenal if you plug in a Telecaster. In the context of a live mix, you definitely need a tube screamer to help push out those mids. They're a very bottom and top heavy sort of amp in terms of its frequency. I am of course only really talking about the AC30 and the AC15, which I gigged with exclusively for a number of years. Up on the last wall of the guitar room, we have some pretty funky guitars. Let's take a look. This is gonna sound weird coming from a blues guy, but I actually like some of these guitars. I think they look pretty cool. This is an ESP E2 Horizon Electric. Check it out, it looks pretty cool. I even dig the headstock. Here's another nice guitar in a Lefty. This is actually an ESP. I really dig the color, and like I said earlier when I was referencing some other guitars, it's good to have some pretty sort of standard designs out there in all of these ranges just to appeal to people who might not like metal. Believe it or not, there's so many more electric guitars in this store that I don't have time to cover them all. If I did, the video would end up going for about 45 minutes and it would take about a week to upload, thanks to Australia's great internet. Let's go check out some acoustics. Hey, a left-handed Fender Acoustic. Sadly though, I didn't have a tuner and it was so out of tune. I spent a few minutes trying to get it right so I could play something on camera, and all I got was that rare ancient Chinese song called Tuning. Oh well, better luck next time. I'll come more prepared with an actual tuner. One of the cool things about KCs is they absolutely cater for everybody. What I like is there's a huge mix of guitars, from cheap guitars to that mid-price stuff like the Gretsch and Fender guitars, all the way through to Teles, as well as some Australian-made stuff like Maton and also Cole Clark. Is it me, or is it a little bit weird to see acoustic guitars with Stratocaster style necks on them? They kind of look cool, but it's just a little bit odd. Remember how many electric guitars we saw? They easily have the same amount of acoustics, but in my opinion, the best acoustics in the shop are right up the back. Let's go take a look. Up first, we have some Maton acoustic guitars. I actually used to have a Maton 325C. Matons sound beautiful plugged in. They don't often sound awesome when they're unplugged, but plugged in, they've got a world-class preamp in there and they sound fantastic. They've pretty much kept the same style now for a number of years, with the exception of making a few mini guitars. Sort of seems to be the craze right now. These guitars are actually made from a company called Cole Clark. They don't look like anything else, so I give them props on their originality. Cole Clark, in my opinion, seem to sound a little bit better acoustically than the Matons. That's obviously not the case 100% of the time, but most of the Cole Clarks that I picked up or heard sound pretty awesome. I've actually been to the Cole Clark factory here in Melbourne, Australia. I should do a return visit there and do a little bit of a documentary video or a walkthrough about the process behind their guitars. If that's something you'd like to see on the channel, please let me know in the comments. In my mind, there's no doubt about it, the Cole Clark guitars definitely have a more unique look than the Matons. Maton kept their design pretty safe over the years, which is probably why Cole Clark has just come out of nowhere and become extremely popular. In terms of quality, they're both really great guitars, costing around the same price. And that wraps up a mega Guitar Search Saturday. A huge thanks to Aaron from KC's Rock Shop, as well as the owner, for giving me permission to come through again to shoot this video. I really appreciate it, guys. I hope you enjoy this. If you live in Melbourne, Australia, it's definitely worth checking this shop out. Like I said, they've always got something a little bit different, and their range is massive. I'd like to also give a quick shout out to all the Patreon subscribers who help keep Guitar Search Saturdays alive and kicking each and every episode. If you'd like to help support the show and also have access to some of the backing tracks that I produce on my videos, head over and check it out. Thanks again for watching, folks, and I'll catch you again on the next episode.